Here we go again, everyone. Lord of Shadows here to make a Star Wars Rebels Season 2 Homecoming review. Man, I have to say, like, this episode was overall also a little bit simple, but also great. Because after all, in this episode we finally see an old character coming back, and that is none other than Cham Syndulla, the hero of Ryloth. The planet where all the Twi'lek are. I have to admit, I'm glad to see him back because I didn't actually see him since the Clone Wars. Yeah, I didn't actually see Cham Syndulla since the Clone Wars, and it really, it's really great to see him back, even if, in Star Wars, even his design in Star Wars Rebels is a lot more different than he was in the Clone Wars, but still, I see, cool, it was good, it's cool, it's okay, and the one thing I'm really happy is that the same voice actor who voiced him in the Clone Wars voiced him right here, right now. I mean, it was, it's really cool. It's really great. Like keeping it the old-fashioned way. Like the same character, the same voice actor, and the same character, personality and everything from the Clone Wars. The only thing that's changed about Syndulla is, like I said, his design. So, like I said, this episode, marks the debut of Cham Syndulla, Numa, and Gobi Glieb, who appeared in the earlier, like I said, Star Wars: The Clone Wars show, and also, it also includes several callbacks, to Ryloth's last appearance in the season. I think it was season 1 of Clone Wars. I'm not actually quite sure. I think it was season 1. I'm not sure when the last time we saw Planet Ryloth. I'm not sure. Also, the one thing in this episode, Cham directly recalls fighting alongside Mace Windu in the Battle of Lasso, the climate battle, to retake Ryloth's capital city. If you watch the Clone Wars, you know what I'm talking about. And one thing also is the one thing I remember from this episode when I heard about I think the original script of this episode was referenced the Ballad of Cham Syndulla, a song composed by Gobi and written for online webcomic. I think that accomplished the first season of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, if that's correct. It was just kind of cool. Also, one thing else I remember is that Cham's shoulders armor, also Gobi's gauntlets, and van braces and holster, and of course Numa's armor, and belt, are all salvaged, pieces of the Ghost Company clone trooper kit. Just to make sure. Or one thing also, I remember a scene on Numa's upper left arm, the word "boil" that is written in Arabic, and as well as a particular crest to reference to one of the clone trooper that rescued her in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which actually, if you if you watch the Ryloth credits and everything, you should remember what I'm talking about. And she also, I know that she also has a Fate Tuca illustration on her tonic that she had stuffed Tokato as a child, which actually, it will take hours and hours because I can talk about that flashback a lot. But I remember when I saw Numa, grow up and everything, and seeing this, Easter egg, let's say, about her, it really reminded me of the Ryloth Prize, when this two clone troopers, try to, one of those two clone troopers, try to save her, and they rescue her. Really heartwarming, to see, really heartwarming to see, these old memories, showed, in this, in Star Wars Rebels, that reminds you of the Clone Wars or from the movies, It was really heartwarming, to see all these memories. The one thing that when Hera was talking with Cham Syndulla alone, not at the finale, but somewhere in the middle, if I'm not mistaken, it appears when Hera Syndulla she gets frustrated, her natural Twi'lek accent come through, answering as a long, comes through. So it appears that the fan that was answering, to that fan question, why she did not sound like another Twi'lek seen in the Clone Wars, which actually they speak, galactic basic, I think, Alternatively, like it seems like that she learned like to drop her Twi'lek accent. Like it appears like when she get like frustrated, you know, which actually sounded like more like vaguely French, I think. Yeah, it sounded like somehow vaguely French, you know. But then of course intentionally like switches back to it when talking like with her father because like it makes make her sound less and off like worldler as he was like accusing her of being like more concerned with the outsiders, you know. The one thing also marks in this episode like we finally see for the first time the TIE bombers, and that's one thing that also I'm really happy to see. You know, to see like the time bombers after all this time, you know. The one thing also in this episode, like the Imperial like carrier like ship design was first introduced, you know, in the original like expanded universe. No, I think it was the Truce of Bakura, I think something like that. It comes in 1994. It came out. You know, the visual design like of like I said, the Kosara fire class, you know, carrier first appeared, you know, in artwork by Doug Chang and Troy Vigil, I think I'm pronouncing correctly, created like for the first edition of the Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels. I mean, it was really kind of cool to see that, you know. Also, like I said, this episode established that like before the Ghost Crew was formed, Chopper appears like Cham Syndulla said, you know, about Chopper. It appears like Chopper before the Ghost Crew was made belonged to Hera, who actually acquired him on a Ryla back during like the Clone Wars. You know, even if it isn't clear like she's the one who built him from spare parts, or she, you know, just find him. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's still a mystery, but at least we know where like that Hera and Chopper, you know, like you know each other like much more before like the Ghost Crew was made. Also, like the one thing, you know, like I said, also the one thing, you know, I remember from this episode, you know, is like when Kanan notes like in the episode, like the official marks like the first time. Actually, like I said, it was really, well, not proud. I mean, it was really cool to see, like, you know, that when like the Ezra's powers, you know, as a Jedi, like really like growing, like improved. Because in this episode, Ezra the first time successfully like used the Jedi mind trick. You know, continue like the running thread like for the past like 2 seasons in which Ezra actually, you know, from asking Kanan to teach him to Ezra like trying but failing like to perform it, you know, on Imperials. And this time, finally after all this time, he finally the first time succeeded. And actually, I really had a laugh, you know, when like he was saying like, you know, I really mean it. This is the real canon. I mean, all soldiers were so like, okay, that was weird, you know. But you know, it was really funny to see Ezra, you know, like talking like in that way. The other parts were overall, like I said, so the episode, like I said, overall, it was very, very simple because, like I said, it started, you know, like the rebels having like a bad fight, you know, against the Empire, so say the time bombers and everything, and of course, like Commander Sado, you know, suggests like to solve like all these both problems, like, you know, because like Hera said, we're losing a Lamo fighter and you don't have like a TIE bomber and everything. So that's why like Commander Sato, you know, said like we can solve these problems in a way to like to steal this, you know, station of these TIE bombers, like so they can use, you know, against the Empire and everything, which was actually pretty clever for me, you know. If anyone ever actually does that, you know, actually I already know that, you know. And the one thing also, you know, okay, let's talk about Cham Syndulla. Okay, let's talk about him a little bit. Cham Syndulla, I mean, overall in this episode was, how can I put it? He was a revolutionary asshole. Let's put it that way, because he put his own people, his planet, his mission above his own daughter. I mean, also, you know, those are the reasons, you know, the way how Cham Syndulla thinks. Those also in this, like we saw in this episode, are also the reason why Hera thinks negatively and why she left after, of course, you know, her mother died, you know. So, I mean, at the beginning, you know, like you could definitely see not only like because he's the hero of Rylov, you know, also say the liberator, you know. He also, you know, like at the beginning you can see like he really thinks, you know, highly of himself, you know, like, you know, oh, I can tell stories so much about it, like my own actions, my own, like, you know, against the, you know, the Sith, whatever, you know, like the Empire, whatever, you know. you know, he really thinks highly of himself. You know, like he's some like superhero. Let's just put it that way. You know, and that's why it's also one of the reasons why Hera doesn't like it. But of course, at the end, like all other parental characters who are thinking negatively or highly of themselves, they change. And also Cham Syndulla, of course, at the end, he also changed because he saw like what his daughter Hera, what kind of caliber she is, her as a leader, as a dreamer, like her wife, or say like Hera's mother, So in the short terms, from the revolutionary dick, he became, a true father. He became a true father, and respecting Hera for what she was, and it was really, very, very cool, when he went away, saying like, congratulations, Captain Syndulla. Like you finally have become something like that is half like your mother and like your father. Like it was really kind of, this episode was overall like some kind of parental, episode between Hera and her father, Cham Syndulla, which actually was, like I said, was really kind of interesting. But the one thing, like I said, Cham Syndulla, when I saw in the episode, when he like betrayed the Ghost Crew, just at the beginning I felt like, no, he's working for the Empire. No, that's not Cham Syndulla. Like I know. So after I somehow think a little bit, he betrayed him, only like to go on into Hera's ship, and of course like to complete his mission, like like to make like this airport, whatever, station for the TIE bombers, like to explode, so everyone on Ryloth can see it, as being liberating and everything. But still, at the end, they destroy, Star Destroyer, and even then, the Ryloth, seeing it as a miracle, like thanks to Cham Syndulla, the revolutionary of going against the Empire. I mean, it was still something. Yeah, it was still something. So overall, like I said, it was a really interesting episode. Also a good one. I'm really happy to see like Cham Syndulla and the others, back, from the an old character from the Clone Wars. I mean, it was really cool. And also I really like, the connection between, like, the talking between Hera and her own father. And the one thing I also really enjoyed was, like, seeing like Hera, when she, when she is frustrated, she's talking like Twi'lek, like her, like, in normal Twi'lek accent, like her ordinary people will do, on her planet. So it was really kind of cool to see that also that. So I'll give this episode a really good plus. I really enjoy it. I really like seeing Cham Syndulla back. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So here I am done. Rate the video, comment, subscribe. Give us the example. What you personally think about this episode? What you personally think about Cham Syndulla? What you about his character, about the voice actor who voiced him? What you were expecting for this episode? What do you think is gonna happen next? Do you think we're gonna see Cham Syndulla back after this episode? Because I'm gonna really believe to see him back. To see him back, not only one episode. Because just like in the Clone Wars, he was in a lot more episodes. Than. Then you should expect him to see him as a guest star, in the Star Wars Rebels. I mean, you get the idea. So drop a like or bridge that. Peace, everyone. Have an awesome day. Lord Shows, like always, signing off. See you next time, and may the Force be with you.